Hello, I'm here with Bjorn Hojgaard, Chair of BIMCO's Marine Environment Committee and BIMCO's Maritime Safety and Security Committee and CEO of Anglo-Eastern. And we're going to have a chat today about putting seafarers at the heart of your business. Welcome, Bjorn.
Thank you, Bev.
So let's start with digital connectivity. So digital connectivity has really improved at sea, made it much easier for seafarers to keep in touch with their families and stay connected.
Yeah.
But how has that impacted onboard culture? How have you seen a change, and how do you make sure that team building and camaraderie still exists in this new connected world?
You're absolutely right. In the last few years with these low Earth orbiting satellites, connectivity has improved dramatically. And with that, many people worry that seafarers will retract to their cabins and spend time with friends and family and no longer engage together on board. But our data actually shows the opposite. When people can resolve their anxieties by real-time connectivity with friends and family, they can quicker and more productively engage with their colleagues, both in social settings, which builds bonds, but also in professional settings and being ready to meet the requirements of the job. So there's a real benefit from reducing that anxiety to actually getting people engaged and present in the roles on board. Of course, there's also an operational benefit to better connectivity, the ability to have video calls with your company or other ships, and through that improved connectivity, be better at providing solutions to the challenges of the day.
So connectivity is just one part of crew well-being, and we've started seeing many companies are now putting crew well-being really at the heart of their businesses. What have you done at Anglo-Eastern to really make this a priority, and what kind of benefits have you seen?
So we've had crew well-being programs for many years, but during COVID we sort of folded them together, and today we have more than 60 well-being initiatives inside that vehicle. Now, why do we do that? It's because we believe it's good business. Obviously, you want to take good care of your employees at sea as you would want to do ashore. But we also find that when people are healthy minds in healthy bodies and things work on a welfare perspective, they become more productive and more engaged with the roles that they are needed to perform the jobs on board. So it's a host of things that we put together, like we would do for a group of people ashore, to make sure that they're not only paid well, but they're also treated well and feel, safe and secure in the environment, enabling them to help the business progress.
Great. So talking about keeping people safe and secure, we're obviously seeing a much more diverse workforce now. So things like PPE, how do you take into account the diversity of your crews and PPE and make sure the equipment is suitable for this new workforce? Yeah,
so in the old days, it was very much a standard PPE model. Today, we treat PPE as a practical, not a policy step. So that means that it has to be fit for purpose and fit for the person wearing it. With women seafarers, with seafarers from, we have 67 different nationalities. It's important that we cater to that variation in the population. And we engage with vendors, we have feedback sessions, we ask our crew to participate in design, to upfront reduce PPE issues like chafing, or even stuff like poor visibility in dark conditions and stuff like that. So it's about engaging on the practical detail level. As I always say, detail is not bureaucracy, it's respect. And that works also for the PPE.
Great. So you've highlighted some really positive things that you've done as a company. But obviously there are circumstances where seafarers can run into trouble. There's complex regulatory and legal challenges sometimes. Have you an example of kind of where you may have had a situation like this and what you've done as a company to address it?
Yeah, so one case I can highlight is a few years back, one of our ships came into port and there was found to be narcotics on board without any evidence of crew involvement. Yet, after investigation, 4 of the crew were arrested and detained, and kept in a small hotel without the ability to travel for 16 months before we got them away. Now, in hindsight, everything is easy, but as you go through these months, it is a tremendous pressure on the individuals and on their families, and it took a real toll on those people. And as a company, we then had to step up with a support structure for the people, for their families, with the legal system, employing professional lawyers with experience in these cases, hiring a consultancy who could demonstrate to authorities that these drugs might well have been placed without the crew's knowledge. As I said, 16 months and we got them out. It was a harrowing experience for those 4, I can promise you that. I had many conversations with them myself, and I'm really, really glad we got them back. And they are all 4 back sailing today, so that's a win.
Great. So with this kind of narrative occasionally about these negative stories, how do you think that we can make sure that seafaring is an attractive, respected career and that people want to kind of join our industry?
It's a super question, because I am actually personally slightly concerned with that sort of doomsday narrative we often hear about a career at sea, about seafaring. I think the reality is that for the vast majority, seafaring is an amazing career in an amazing industry. And our data, for instance, clearly backs that seafarers are much safer whilst they are on board than they are during their time ashore in the leave periods at home. So I think it is a great career for the right kind of people. But 2 things can be true at once, right? It doesn't mean that there aren't at the fringes some sad cases of abandonment or criminalization, etc. And we have to, of course, address those fringe issues and make sure we lift the floor, but we shouldn't let those fringe issues overshadow what is, for the vast majority, a very rewarding and great career and a great lifestyle. So, it would be the same as if the cruise industry were always talking about Titanic. That also wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah, great analogy. So if you could offer your fellow ship owners 1 or 2 pieces of advice over the next year, actions to take, what would they be?
Firstly, I'd say close the trust loop. Treat seafarers as part of the solution, not as part of the problem, because they really are part of the solution. And once you start seeing them like that, the conversation changes. If you give trust, you get trust in return. And by closing the communication loops, asking not just a survey, but really to be heard and to be engaged with, then you get a whole different response from the people on board. So that would be the first piece. Second piece would be invest in leadership on board. The biggest levers for a difference is in the master and the senior officers. And by investing in training and development and in teaching that shipboard management their leadership responsibilities, you get a ship that performs much better, and that has a positive impact on the business results.
Great. So finally, do you think we need a mindset shift? And if so, what do you think that shift needs to be?
Yeah, so as I just said, I think the mindset shift is to treat the onboard workforce as part of a solution, part of their solution, not part of a problem. It's easy to sit from far away and look at the P&L and think this is a cost, but I'd say look at it as an investment, a necessary investment to get good results. And like any investment, you want to get bang for your buck, and you do that by being close to where you spend the money and make sure that it actually lifts and creates a happy, safe, performing group of people who help drive the business forward.
Great. Thank you. Very wise words indeed. Thank you very much, Bjorn, and thank you everybody for watching.